afternoonunderdog.org/spread the word.
Why? Why take a chance? Why risk a mistake? Why say something? We all have reasons why we choose to ignore the things that give us pause, that seem out of place, that don't feel right. The word why can either paralyze us or empower us to stand up and protect what we love. So if you see something, why do you say something?
I see safe for my family.
I see safe for my friends.
I see say for my students.
We see say for each other.
I see say because all of this matters.
We all have something worth protecting, a why that unifies this community we're all a part of. So protect your everyday. Report suspicious activity to local authorities. If you see something, say something.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, Howard FC, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Knocked away and intercepted.
Ball game.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room.
The fairy tale continues.
The Afternoon Underdogs are on the air.
And the breakthrough for the U.S.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome into the Rib Crib Radio Room. Happy 420, whatever, for all my Android users out there. Braves, man, in a tough one right now, losing 4-0 to the Dodgers after a big win last night, though. We've got Sam Peebles coming up in the next segment. We'll be digging into the game last night, how it went, some of the things that we thought went great, and maybe some of the things that Sam thinks that Brian Snitker, the manager for the Atlanta Braves, could do better. We also have Zubin Mehenti on today with us at 5:30. He's a Sports Center anchor, so for all my people who are up late watching their sports, I'm sure that you've come across him a time or two. Just a guy with great preparation, does a fantastic job no matter what he's tasked upon. And he did a little stint there for a while with Keyshawn and Jay Will, but had some health complications, had to step away for a while, and now he's with Sports Center doing a great job as an anchor. But Braves, like I said, down 4-0. Not a big deal. We started off slow last year, so I'm not losing sight of what it could be at this point in time, guys. I don't think that we need to get all riled up about a few losses here. We're going through a rough stretch. Ronald Acuna's playing baseball down there in Jacksonville right now, looking pretty good. Can't wait for his appearance and coming back up to the major league level. He's looking really good coming off of that terrible injury that he had last year. But with a big win last night, 3-1, how about the performance by Max Fried last night? Seven innings pitched, only 2 hits given up. We're talking about a high-octane offense, and he only gave up 2 hits. 2 hits and 8 strikeouts. It seemed like wherever he placed the ball, it was like he had pinpoint pitching on last night. Something very excited after his first outing was a little bit rougher. And good news for me, I had him on my fantasy team. So glad to have a great performance last night by Max Fried. How about the end of the game? We're talking about the starting pitcher there. The end of the game, you want to talk about poetic endings? Kenley Jansen getting the save against Freddie Freeman, the final out of the game, flying out. What a fitting ending. One thing that it doesn't concern me, all right? So we're talking about a team here with the Atlanta Braves who have hit, It's 16 home runs, I believe, and 15 of them have been solo shots to this point. Well, last night was a little bit different of a story. You have Travis d'Arnaud with an extreme bomb, and the Braves racked up 12 hits last night. Didn't get a lot of run production, but at the end of the day, in the game that we play, what's the objective? To outscore the other team, and they did exactly that. I'm really loving what we're seeing from, you got to give your kudos to Matt Olson, but he was 0 for 4 last night. How about this Orlando Arcia? He came over from the Brewers last year, worked his way up, all the way back up to the major league level, starting on the roster with the team this year, and he's vying for a spot, I don't know if this guy was anything more than a platoon guy in most fans' eyes, and right now, before before today's game, I believe he was hitting 368. He had 3 hits last night, hitting the ball hard every single time. And then the last part with the Atlanta Braves today, before I move on to some of the other headlines, Austin Riley, congratulations. He's going to be missing a few games, but they just welcomed in a brand new baby boy. And what a fitting name for a baseball baby, or a baby of a baseball player here. Easton Riley is the name that he was given. Love it. Braves still down here 4-0, but we're in the top of the 7th. No outs, about to get going. We've got Ozzie Albies, Matt Olson, and Marcell Ozuna on deck here. So let's see what we can get out of the Braves in the 7th inning. As you know, if you've been following the Braves for the last few years, this is the crunch time for them. The 7th, the 8th, and the 9th inning. We're on the radio at 104.3. In Mariana on 102.1 FM. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and with our TV partner, Blab TV. If you don't have Blab TV in your area, then get their channel on your Fire Stick or your Roku. Be sure to like and share our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and download the new app and register. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Let's play a little trivia. I asked this question the other day, but for your chance to win $25 to Swampy Jacks, a Pineapple Willie's t-shirt, and a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock. Oh, speaking of Buffalo Rock, I should have opened up a can before and gave you guys a live taste test. But we have this new Nitro Vanilla Draft Pepsi. It's almost like the Guinness of Pepsis. It's not as highly carbonated as the other beverages. It still has, a high sugar content, but it's absolutely amazing. If you come across one of those Nitro Pepsis, you definitely got to get one. If you win a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock, I don't think we have another 12-pack of that in here, but I would be glad to give you a can to take with you, as well as another great product from our great friends at Buffalo Rock. But the trivia question, 850-215-6290. Who was the last black player to wear the number 42, Jackie Robinson's number? Who was the last black player to wear Jackie Robinson's number 42? He is one of my favorite players growing up. Or I don't want to say favorite players, but he's one of those guys that just caught my attention growing up. Now let's get into some other things here. I don't know if any of you guys out there have been watching Winning Time or keeping up with it at all, but the logo, Jerry West, sent a letter to HBO and producer Adam McKay late Tuesday demanding that a retraction and apology be made from HBO within the next 2 weeks. And this is over the way that they portrayed Jerry West. If you've seen it, I don't want to spoil it for you, but his character is a little high-strung. That's a nice way to put it. But if you haven't watched this series yet, you really should give it a go. It's a dramatization. It's not, it's not a documentary. It's not based on facts, but there are some cool tidbits within it. So the show is based on Jeff Pearlman's book, Showtime, Magic, Kareem, Riley, and the Los Angeles Lakers dynasty of the 1980s. And in the book, they say that he was portrayed a lot differently than what the shows. That's what West's lawyers allege. The portrayal of NBA icon and LA Lakers legend Jerry West in Winning Time is fiction pretending to be fact. A deliberately false characterization that has caused great distress to Jerry and his family. That's what one of Jerry West's attorney said. Former Lakers Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Cooper, Mitch Kupchak, and Michael Cooper, among others, co-signed the letter in support of West. That kind of brings me to the other one, is how Kareem is portrayed in that show as well. And then I was wondering, like, man, is he really that jaded, if that's the correct term? And then I started watching a documentary, and I haven't finished Winning Time, but in that documentary, going through the phases of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's life, yeah, absolutely, he didn't end that way, but there was times in his career where he felt that way, and for good reason. Interesting tidbit here is that West lawyers also say that HBO's disclaimer about it being a dramatization does not insulate the network legally. So they've got 2 weeks for a retraction and an apology. We'll have to stay tuned to that and see how it works. In the world of Major League Baseball, give me a call for trivia, $25 to Swampy Jacks. All you got to do is take a stab in the dark, 850-215-6290. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes. Now back to baseball here with the pitch clocks. All right. The Players Union agreed to test out pitch clocks in the minor leagues this year. We're only 3 weeks into the season, and we're starting to see some progress if that's what you want to see. And I think all of us as baseball fans would be glad to knock a few minutes off. The average game time or time of game for last season was about 3 hours and 11 minutes. So here's how the setup kind of works. When no one is on base, the pitcher's got 14 seconds to throw. When you have runners on base, it goes up to 18 seconds. I like that. 14 seconds, and you also have to be mindful of the batter in the batter's box. They don't have as much time to play with their batting gloves, knock the dirt off their cleats. It's get up and go. It's like Nolan Ryan was on the hill throwing to you. You better get in there or else you're going to be wearing something very soon. If the pitcher fails to throw a pitch on time, he's assessed a ball. If a batter isn't ready with 9 seconds left on the pitch clock, he's assessed a strike. So there you have it right there. If a batter's taking too much time, he's going to get a strike. And I like that it's a ball instead of a warning or something. Let's just go ahead and keep the game moving. And when it gets to the major league level, of course, some of these guys, think of Yu Darvish, who has the longest average in between pitches in Major League Baseball. It'll be a slow go at first, but eventually these guys will get accustomed to it. They are professional athletes, and it's great for the game, especially if you want to capture the younger audience, right? Because they are so, I don't want to say they are, ever since we've got the device that we have, sounding like old school here, the phones and everything is just a click away, and you can just watch videos that are 10 seconds rather than having to watch something 3 minutes. We have become an instant gratification world. So with instant gratification, you've got to keep people's attention. So I think that this pitch clock and what we're seeing is going to be a great thing for baseball. I'd much rather see a pitch clock than a robo-ump, even though I fear we're headed in both of those directions. In 132 minor league games with pitch clocks this season, we've seen a 20-minute decrease in game time. That's down to 2 hours and 39 minutes from 2 hours and 59 minutes in minor league games last season. That's a pretty big difference there. We're going to have Sam Peebles with the Braves Dugout Podcast with us here in the next segment. I got Caveman Rick in the building with me. Caveman, what's going on, my friend?
Yo, how you doing, man? Just got off work and figured I'd come down here and help y'all out.
Yes, sir, man. I absolutely appreciate you doing that. Got your Phillies jersey on, old Donovan McNabb. What are you thinking here with let's stay with baseball.
All right.
Ads, advertisements. Now, it's not going to be happening this year, but we already have a Major League Baseball team now who is set up to have an advertisement with Motorola. That's the San Diego Padres, all right? So that won't start until 2023, but there is a chance that in the postseason, you'll start seeing that. Now, we started seeing it first in basketball. NBA started up advertisement collaboration 2017 2018. NHL picked it up around 2020 2021. So here we are with Major League Baseball doing it. It's still one of the purest sports to what it used to be. How do you feel about ads being on baseball jerseys, seeing it on helmets? I mean, we already have it superimposed on walls, right? On the outfield walls, behind the pitcher's mound and stuff like that. I don't mind seeing it on the field. It took a while even for the NBA jerseys for me to get accustomed to. Give me your thoughts on that, Caveman Rick.
It's something you're going to have to get used to. I don't dig it. I like the pure jerseys. I like to just look at a jersey and see the colors, the logo of the team and such, the numbers, the name on the back of the jersey. I don't want to see an ad for something. Now, taking that into consideration, yes, it's something that's going to, continue to happen. We're not going to see it go away. I just don't want to see it get overly crazy the way they do it overseas, in the soccer leagues.
Where it looks like a NASCAR almost?
Well, not even that, but you
car.
don't even know what team, you're looking at because,
right.
Say if you like Manchester United, you see Emirates all the time. Okay, so I don't fly on a lot of airplanes, and I don't go over to the Middle East, so I don't really care about Emirates, to be perfectly honest with you. And if I was a fan, I'd rather see like Man U on there instead of advertising an airline. So, but like I said, it's not going to go away. Do it tastefully. In the NBA, they have it like in that upper like right hand corner, and then depending on the team, in the partnership they come up with, like some jerseys, like you just have the Nike swoosh, so it looks like it's just a Nike jersey,
Yeah.
just kind of hidden. And then me being from the Philadelphia area, now the Flyers didn't do this, and I don't know why. Maybe just because of money, and Wawa didn't want to do it. Wawa's a big convenience store company up
Right.
in the area. Matter of fact, they're coming to this area. I just heard about that recently too. So congratulations, Wawa, great company. But if it's something like that, like something I like a Wawa, and it's on, say, the helmet of my Philadelphia Flyers, then I may be a little bit more cool with it than if it's like, say, like Pampers diapers or like,
So it depends on the company for you.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's a company that resonates with you, then you're good with it. If it's a company that, and that's a good point though, Caveman, because it makes me think that. And maybe it is. Maybe I don't know the corporation ties with each cities, but you would want to have a company that is around your area. That people, when they see that, it's like, oh, okay, put two and two together. We do got to take a break. Caveman Rick, thanks so much for coming in. We're gonna be right back. We're gonna be talking with Sam Peebles. Atlanta Braves down 4-0 now, going into the bottom of the seventh.
My forecast overnight, clouds will lower and thicken. Temperatures overnight 60 to 65, but no rain expected. Light east winds. The morning clouds will thin out to some sunshine Thursday afternoon. The high near 80, light east winds. Friday mostly sunny, the high around 82, and more the same for Saturday. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, best little lumber yard in Panama City and Youngstown. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd.
Some people see sports as escapism. I've never once in my life gone to a game to escape. Escape what? I love my wife. I love my job. I love my kids. What am I escaping? If you have to go to sports to escape, maybe that's more on you.
This is The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
Weekdays 11 to 2, ESPN, Northwest Florida.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Is that the sound of an ooey gooey cheesy crunchy slice of P-I-Z-Z-A? Obviously, but as good as that sounds, we think it can get even better. Oh yeah, that's the sound of a freshly opened fizz-filled Pepsi. The only thing that can take this flavor medley of crunchy dough, mouth-watering cheese, and savory sauce to the next level. How about another bite? Pepsi and pizza sound like a match made in heaven and taste even better. Pizza, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Guthrie's Golden Fried Chicken Fingers on Panama City Beach. Fresh, never frozen chicken tenders fried to perfection and served with their famous signature Guthrie sauce. Guthrie's box, snack, and chicken sandwich are sure to please. And for larger gatherings, try the family meal or Guthrie's Chicken Finger Bucket. Let Guthrie's cater your next event. Find their daily specials on Facebook, on Front Beach Road across from the Beach Shopping Center. Since 1965. Fresh, hot, and fast. Now available on DoorDash and Uber Eats.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. The mission?
Your mission, should you decide to accept it.
Save the panhandle from boring cookie cutter radio. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
The state will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Back inside the Rib Crib Radio Room, you are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Hey, we'll switch this at the next break. I totally forgot about that. Caveman's going to be taking over the cameras in the next segment so we can actually have these things moving. Braves are off tomorrow, but Friday, 6 o'clock, coverage starts. They'll be taking on the Marlins for a 3-game set. Saturday, coverage starts at 5:05. Sunday starts at 11:20. Speaking of the Braves, host and creator of the great Braves Dugout podcast, Sam Peebles, on the line with us. Sam, how's it going, my friend? And how are you feeling about the season to this point?
Well, I mean, season feels a lot like it did at the start of last year, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
it
we've got
really
3
does.
years in a row where the Braves started 3-4. They go out west, and former Brave Freddie Freeman hits his first 2 home runs of the season off the Braves. I mean, it's I've got hope, and to this point, honestly, everything is icing on the cake because we got the World Series last year. But it is a little sad, if we're being honest.
Yeah, especially because we had these thoughts of, oh man, we did lose Freddie, yes, but we bring in Matt Olson and we were able to pass some other pieces. Now there's still a silver lining. We haven't even got to see Ronald Acuna Jr. yet.
That's correct, or Mike Soroka.
So what is the timeline for Soroka looking like right now?
It's probably going to be closer to the trade deadline before he comes back.
So we are seeing that Ronald Acuna Jr. is down there, AAA, playing with the Gwinnett Stripers, but he's playing in Jacksonville right now. Have you heard anything? I've seen a few clips, but have you heard of anything else if he's looking good, what the timeline's looking like for Ronnie?
Yeah, all the reports are saying he's looking good and he's going to come back when he's supposed to, which is supposed to be the first week of May. So fingers crossed that that's the case.
I'm loving it, man. So I got to ask about, well, first, let's get into the game last night a little bit. Just give me your thoughts on that, especially the ending with Kenley Jansen closing for the Braves, Freddie Freeman flying out for the Dodgers. Just like, I'm trying to put myself in the headspace of a Dodgers fan and how it feels or how it looks to them seeing Kenley Jansen, because I know it's awkward as all get out when I'm looking at Freddie Freeman in Dodger blue.
Right. Fortunately for Dodgers fans, Kenley Jansen wasn't the face of the franchise during down years. So I doubt for the Dodgers it's as crazy as us Braves fans watching Freddie Freeman hitting home runs like he is off the team. But it was a really cool moment for that to happen. I mean, it was much needed, too. Max Fried coming in and pitching lights out. That was much needed, especially not only was he pitching lights out, but he was pitching lights out against that stacked Dodgers lineup, which was much needed for him considering the first start of the season. So it was a really solid win last night. One of probably the most complete wins of the season.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. In the first game of the set, they fought back. It didn't look promising at all in the beginning, and then for them to come out in game 2 and Max Fried just take the team, put it on his back. Travis d'Arnaud with the big shot. It was a lot of fun to watch that game last night, and it flew by.
Oh yeah. Absolute blast. If we could have more games like that, then I'd feel a lot more confident about this season.
Well, someone who needs some confidence right now is Dansby Swanson. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're chatting with Sam Peebles, host and creator of the Braves Dugout podcast, also a team member of the Morning Shift Media. You can find them on Twitter. But Dansby Swanson, is he trying not to get a new contract? And I ask that facetiously, you know what I mean? But,
right,
man, is the loss of Freddie hurting him more than any of us fans right now?
It's got to be something like that. I don't really understand it because typically your contract years when you see a player, especially the one right before their first free agency, is typically where the player works the hardest in the off season and puts up the best season of their career so that they can sign that massive contract. And Dansby Swanson, before the start of this year, would have probably went into free agency being the number 2 shortstop available, netting him a bunch of money, and he is not playing that way. Now, Dansby Swanson probably, some luck is probably catching up to him, but this performance has been terrible just across the board. Right now, he's 70% league average when it comes to run production and it's OPS plus, so 70% below league average. That's not good.
Hey, Sam, Caveman Rick, just wanted to ask, do you think any chance this could be a World Series hangover situation for him?
Yes, I think I'm a big believer in that being an actual thing. I mean, there's no true statistics to really prove it, but I mean, you see it with almost every team, and you know, the off season with Freddie Freeman, and then with the lockout, maybe he was not able to work out like he normally does, and it threw him off. I mean, it might be one of those same scenarios where, like the COVID shortened season, you saw guys like Christian Yelich and people like that are like all world talents that were struggling, and then you see guys that were never like all-star level talent rising to the cream of the crop just because their off seasons were so different. And I'm wondering if Dansby Swanson is one of those cases where the off season was really different for him and it really threw him off.
It's a great perspective there. And I would love to get your take here on Orlando Arcia's output. If Dansby continues to struggle, Ronnie gets back, healthy, he's playing good ball. You got Rosario, Duvall, Ozuna all kind of platooning out in the outfield. You don't want to necessarily lose that bat of Arcia the way that it's going right now. Is there a chance that, maybe he gets some time there at shortstop?
I would say Brian Snitker would not do that.
Yeah.
Just because he has a lot of old school mentality when it comes to letting certain players play. Would I do it if Dansby Swanson continues to struggle? Yes, I would do it. Is Arcia a huge upgrade over Dansby Swanson? Probably not.
Yeah.
But, at this point, if Dansby Swanson continues to struggle like he is, got to shake something up. Maybe it'll force Dansby Swanson to work harder. It's not going to get any worse. So I don't know. It's maybe it will get worse. If it does get worse, definitely put Arcia in. But it's almost like one of those things where it's, surely it's only downhill from here from Dansby Swanson, and he'll continue to get better. The thing that scares me is you look at guys like Eddie Rosario and Alex Dickerson that are struggling at the plate. If you look at their batting average of balls in play, it's a measly like 0.007, when the league average of batting average of balls in play is like a 300.
Whoa.
Which means that they're getting like extremely unlucky. Like that's the average of when you hit the ball. If it's 300, there's a 30% chance it's going to be a hit. Well, Alex Dickerson and Eddie Rosario is less than 100. Dansby Swanson is right at league average. So he's not having bad luck. He's just swinging the bat bad. You can't claim bad luck with him, so there's no signs of progression in the future, where with the other two guys, they continue to swing the bat like they are, and they'll eventually start getting hits. Dansby Swanson's got to change something, and he's got to change it quick.
Speaking of the way that you would manage a club, is there anything right now, the way that Snit's been handling things, that you would change? Kind of how, you brought up last year, Freddie Freeman needs to go up to the 2 spot. You've said before multiple times that Ozzie Albies, certain situations, not great in the leadoff spot. Is there anything right now that you're seeing Snit do that you would do it a little differently when it comes to the analytical side of things?
Yes, I would. I know that fortunately Snitker started doing it at the beginning of the year, but I think with the struggles of Eddie Rosario, that's why he stopped doing it. But I still would not bat Ozzie Albies number 1 or number 2. I would not bat Ozzie Albies in the top 5 against a right-handed pitcher. He just against the lefties, sure, he's one of the best hitters in the league, not just on the Braves, but in the league at hitting lefties. Against righties, he's in the bottom half of the league. So it doesn't make sense to give him a bunch of at-bats against right-handed pitchers. So move him down in the order against right-handed pitchers.
Well, and as soon as Ronnie gets back, that's his spot.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I'm hoping it's going to be against righties. It'll be something like Ronald Acuna, Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Marcell Ozuna, and then even Darno. Really, Darno's pretty solid at hitting right-handed pitchers. You could throw him in the 5 spot, and it'd still be better than the output that Ozzie Albies is going to have against a right-handed pitcher.
So who's some prospects that we have down in the pipeline that could move up that pipeline in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, there are quite a few guys. Unfortunately, about being a World Series winning team, typically that means that you've used a lot of your prospects to make your team better, selling them and stuff like we saw Shea leave and and people like Christian Pache is on the A's, and things like that. But I would say be looking out for Michael Harris. I mean, that guy, he's still young and he's still learning, but he's shooting up people like that. I mean, there are people to be excited about. And if Dansby Swanson doesn't pick things up, maybe we see Braden Shoemake soon. Who knows?
Ooh, that would be nice. So, were you refreshed last night to see the Braves steal some bases? I believe I saw a stat: 304 games that Austin Riley has played at the major league level. Last night, first stolen base. Today, he gets a kid named Easton.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Today's game is getting further and further away from stolen bases, and analytically, it makes sense. It's just not worth the out. The chances of you, but at the same time, at what point should the catchers kind of realize, not pay as close of attention to people stealing bases because they know that less people are stealing. So someone like Austin Riley, who's never stolen a base, the catcher might not be paying attention. So who knows? But it is refreshing to see, and like I said, analytically it doesn't make sense, but stealing bases, there's just something about it that's just aesthetically pleasing to the eye to see.
I love it, man. I was surprised to see Austin Riley get up and get after it the way that he did. I didn't even think that he had the legs underneath him. We got to get to a break. Sam, thanks so much. Everybody go check out Sam's podcast, the Braves Dugout Podcast, everywhere you get your podcast. Follow him on Twitter at @SPeoplesSports. Sam, thanks so much, my friend, and enjoy the rest of the game if the Braves can make a comeback. Oh,
Absolutely,
and hey,
go Braves.
one more thing.
Hey.
Happy birthday to your wife, Casey.
Hey, thanks. I'll let her know.
Absolutely. Hey, take care, Sam. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
All right, guys, you're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes along with Caveman Rick. We're going to take a short time out. When we get back, I'm delighted to have your minute with Max. Delighted.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. The Paul Feinbaum Show.
Coach Kirby Smart, how are you?
Doing great, Paul. Staying busy. It's been fun. It's been really exciting, but the honeymoon's long over when we started spring practice. But you know how short the memory is in the SEC. You've seen a lot of folks kind of enjoy that too long and not turn it around. So we've been focused really hard on next year. There's so much work that goes into every season. You can't sit back and look at the last one.
Weekday evening 6 to 10, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Swampy Jack here. I've traveled the world for decades and brought my most exciting adventures to Panama City Beach. Encounter the 25-foot-tall Swamp Ape. This indoor scrambler ride is synchronized for a multimedia experience like you've never felt. Put the pedal to the metal, racing around the Marrakesh track in electric go-karts. Supercharge your cart with special power-ups for extra speed or to sabotage opponents. And if you're hungry, grab a meal at Swampy's Cantina or enjoy an ice-cold beer. This and more at Swampy Jack's.
At Slim Chickens, craft means something. Craft means bacon. And oh, so crispy. Craft means a good cayenne kick. And all-natural buttermilk marinated, made fresh, perfectly fried chicken. All served on toasted brioche buns. At Slim Chickens, craft means quality. And for a limited time, try our new Memphis-style barbecue chicken sandwich. Try Slim's Craft Sandwiches today. Slim Chickens.
PCB Coins and Cards is the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, coins, and trading card games. PCB Coins and Cards carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Coins and Cards has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel, rookie, game used, and autograph cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? Bring it in and let us take a look. We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Coins and Cards on Back Beach Road just east of Florida Linen. Call them today at 850-320-8388.
Hi folks, it's Tracy with Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Did you know that we have a master jeweler right here in the store? That's right, he has over 30 years experience in the art of repairing jewelry. Most repairs are done within 2 business days, so don't send your jewelry off for 6 weeks. Bring it to us at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. We size rings and solder chains. We can reset your diamond into new settings and even custom design. You'll get your jewelry back quickly and looking as good as new. Tracy's Fine Jewelry, Bay County's trusted jeweler for over 45 years.
When the sun sets on the Emerald Coast, the freaks come out and play.
Hi, I'm a recovering crackhead.
Hand me that shotgun.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Get on your knees!
Live and local inside the Rib Crib Radio Room on ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs in the Rib Crib Radio Room. I'm David Hayes. I've got Caveman Rick in the building with me and the man of the day. It's his birthday today, along with Casey Peebles, but also Max Delight. And happy birthday, man. How old are you now?
Thank you, brother. 26. I'm
26.
The back nine of my 20s.
Yeah, you are, brother. You got 4 more to the big 3-0.
Yep.
Hey, it's fun. It ain't nothing different, really, to be honest with you. So what's going on with PRG, Rib Crib, all good things like that?
Yeah, I know you've announced it. We have Mr. Webb over at Rib Crib right now for his signing, going to Bluefield University.
Yeah, Bluefield University, continue his football career.
Yeah, which is awesome.
I almost wanted to call it Bluebell right there because I'm in the mood for some ice cream right now.
Yeah, so that's cool. Ribs and Rides tomorrow.
Oh, is that tomorrow?
It is, yeah.
Oh, boy, got to shout that one out.
Weather should be nice.
Yeah, it should be beautiful. I'm actually won't be in attendance. I'm flying back to go to the greatest university on planet Earth, Indiana University.
What are you going to be doing there?
It's Little 500 there this weekend.
Oh, nice. You're participating. Okay.
No. in the drinking portion. Just kidding, Christian.
Just kidding.
No, but for anyone who doesn't know, it's like the Indy 500, but for bike racing. It's like the biggest weekend of the year at Indiana, and my brother's a senior there, and he's competing in it.
Oh, so you're wow, yeah, I would definitely
shout out Casey.
Let's go, Casey Delighten.
Casey Delighten, yeah.
All right, he's a senior.
Yeah, it's a big commitment. It's like being a D1 athlete. They train like 2 to 4 hours a day. Like
really?
Yeah, it's a 50-mile
How long is the
race.
training? Like what month to what month or so?
It's year round.
Year
it takes like
round.
a couple weeks off to taper off, but like otherwise, yeah.
That's even more demanding in a sense.
Yeah, so it's 200
than
laps,
athletes.
50 miles. And
Golly.
It's hardcore.
How long is the track?
I guess it's a quarter mile.
Well, you said
per lap,
yeah. Wow, come on, accountant. You gotta come on, accountant.
It's been a long day. But yeah, so it's a pretty cool event, and you can tune in online too. It's really cool.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, so just giving him a shout out there. But then also we have Saturday at Rib Crib. The Chunky Boys will be there, so the Chunky Boy menu got a few,
Jamal and the gang.
Yeah. All the big fellas. Some good,
all the big fellas.
Yeah, they're good guys. And we have some other they have their own little special menu, so you can get some special items there.
Oh, how cool
so,
is
like,
that,
some loaded
man?
Fries and stuff. Yeah.
Right on.
Honestly, their menu's pretty awesome. So I love those
Is
loaded
Chris
fries.
like, hey man, we might have to adopt some of these things.
Yeah.
You know
we do
what
it
I
at our
mean?
food truck, but still getting Rib Crib corporate to come around on some. But
yeah, there you go.
And then
but they do give y'all a little bit of flexibility with the menu.
They
You were saying a
yeah.
couple of shows ago.
Yeah, now that we have a little more territory, we're adding some over near University of Arkansas, so they're giving us a little more leniency.
Ooh, I like that, man. So last night we had Luke Voigt slide into Tyler Stevenson, San Diego Padres. Luke Voigt sliding into who does Tommy Pham play with now? Why am I blanking?
The Reds.
Yeah, it is the Reds. I was like, they're just so. I'm so mad at the Reds right now because their only 2 wins in the daggum season are against the Atlanta Braves right now.
Tommy Pham is.
I'm used to Tommy being with the Padres himself.
Yeah, or being with the Cardinals for a while too, just because the Cubs-Cardinals rivalry. He did that thing where he led off almost halfway to second base because Lester couldn't throw to first, and then he ended up getting picked off. He's such a fake cool guy.
Well, so my question here isn't even about the slide.
Yeah.
It's about the aftermath.
Yeah.
Who you got in a fight? MMA, in a gym? Who you got?
Luke Voigt. Tommy Pham is a coward.
He says he trains Muay Thai, all that good
he
stuff.
He trained so well that he got stabbed in a parking lot 20 times. So.
Wow. I didn't know
he
that.
did. 20 times. So
I didn't know that.
His
but you don't know
MMA trainer stinks then.
You don't know the whole situation, though.
That's true.
You know?
No, I don't have any
if somebody was approaching him and he knew it, or if he got cold cocked and
Sorry,
he didn't see it
hot.
coming.
Yeah. Was the slide dirty though?
I mean, it's baseball.
That's what I'm saying.
They've eliminated so much stuff in baseball. Come on, catcher's got to be prepped for it. I don't know.
The catcher's got enough gear on.
Luke Voigt's a big boy.
Luke Voigt's a big boy. I don't think that there was anything, and the umpires obviously agreed with it, but I don't think that there was anything intentional. It was forceful, but it was only forceful because he was running from second base, first base. I believe it was second base. I can't imagine Luke Voigt running from first base and scoring. But it's just a little forearm shiver. That's all it is.
He's not the most agile guy. What does he want him to do? An acrobatic slide in,
flip over him and just land on your tippy toes.
He's 6'4", 250, right? Come on.
Well, real quick, let me piggyback this question then for you guys talking about that. So with all the advancements in all the equipment and all the gear that all these players are having, they're having all these rules changes now to try to, have more safety. Go back to less equipment. It seemed to me like in a lot of sports, including hockey, which I'm a big fan of, as the advancement of the equipment has gotten better with the technology through the years, the respect for the other players out on the field or the ice or whatever has gone down because they have all this extra equipment. People are taking more liberties because they're like, well, they're padded or they have all this protection.
I'll give you that in the sport of hockey, but what else can you what can you take away from a catcher? And he wasn't even wearing a new style like hockey catcher's mask. He was wearing an old style mask with the helmet, the two-piece system. So what can you take away from him?
I don't know.
You can't take away their helmet or their mask.
No, you don't take it away, but maybe you make it a little less padded or, you know what I'm saying? Just because, like I said, through the years, if you look at the stuff the guys were wearing 60, 70 years ago, it's a far cry to what they're wearing today.
I don't know. I like that point. I mean, Tommy Pham, though, is like the guy who's in like a group of people and chirps from the middle of the group. He's with another group
You're
of
lucky
big
he's
guys.
holding me back.
Yeah, he's like the little tailback who's with all his O linemen and feels tough.
When was the last time we saw some real punches thrown in a ball game like Rudeg Odor?
Was that the last time?
Maybe.
That was an awesome punch.
That was a good one, man.
He was almost upside down when he threw that punch, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That was a great moment in baseball.
We need more like Nolan Ryan's, like someone who'll put you in a headlock.
Right.
And not just that, we need people who are like, oh, you're
how about
taking your
Pedro
time. You're
on Don Zimmer. So you're gonna come out here, man, old man. I'm gonna put you on the ground.
I forget about that one too. Wow,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean Tommy Pham, like we had a few things with the Cubs Cardinals where like benches cleared briefly, and he was always like the tough guy. And then as soon as he gets confronted, he's like,
but that's
"All right,
weak,
easy."
man. We're like
Jason
we're
Hayward
just
playing a
stands
game.
up on him. He's like, "Hey, man."
So when it comes to your Chicago Cubs, how you thinking about the season so far, and specifically your guy Suzuki?
Oh man, he's totally exceeded my expectations.
Right?
Like I thought he'd take a little bit, like maybe slump a little, because a lot of those guys like shifting over, it's totally different. But man, he's a tough out. He just is really composed at the plate. He doesn't swing at balls. Like he always puts the ball in play, and he's been super clutch. I mean, he's got 4 homers, I think 12 or 13 ribbies. His OBP is like 650 or 700 right now. He had a hit streak through the season until yesterday where he was 0 for 1, but he walked 3 times. So it's
man,
can't be mad at him for ending that.
Nah, not when you're getting, because his on base streak is still going.
Yeah, and like I know the Cubs are 6-5 right now, but they've been competing and exceeding my expectations at least, given the roster. Like it's a lot of guys no one really heard of like until this season, I guess, like Frank Schwindel, Patrick Wisdom, like all guys who have been
did they
lifelong minor leaguers.
You play MLB The Show at all?
Yeah.
I did a March to October with the Cubs to kind of make it quicker because I didn't want to, go through 162 with the Cubs, but I like playing at Wrigley Field,
Yeah.
So, they were a fun team to kind of rip apart and rebuild.
That's fair. Well, this is a good time for me to ask you my question I had for you.
Let's go.
So we're going with the pain points. How tough was it? First at bat against the Braves, Freddie Freeman going the yard on Inoa. And then today, first at bat of the last game of the series, dinger.
Charlie Morton, man. I wasn't able to, I wasn't able to watch the game today. I just had it on ESPN Gamecast here on the computer. I got to be honest. I thought really coming into this series, I really thought it was going to be like, all right, it'll be all kind of, I don't want to say lovey-dovey, but you'll go through those memories, reunion, and then it's game time. It's boo Freddie. Right. And it's slightly, not boo Freddie, but it's like you don't want him to do good, but I can't help myself. He looks weird in Dodger blue to me. I'm still getting accustomed to that. It's like, come on, bro. That's the wrong red, white, and blue. You need to be in a navy blue with great looking red, you know what I mean? But no, honestly, when he hits the home run, like I said, I didn't get to see today's, but the other one was just like fitting, right? You know what I mean? And poetic. Then in game 2 where we got the win, he goes 0 for 4. So does Matt Olson. The thing that takes the sting away from it, Matt Olson is like the alcohol before the shot or whatever, where it kind of sterilized the pain a little bit. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't have to be mad at Freddie. I'm not mad at Freddie. First off, now I've kind of walked my whole stance back to where it was never Freddie Freeman. It's his agent. It's a game. It's not it's business. And not just that, my opinion, looking at his face, seeing even in losses the fun that the Atlanta Braves have, I think he's gonna miss that. I think he already misses it. But it is what it is. And the coolest thing, my last one, is that with Matt Olson Without Freddie going to L.A. to play in front of his friends and family, Matt Olson doesn't get the chance to play in front of his friends and family. So it's a win for both teams.
I didn't even know he was from there. That's cool. The thing for me is I really like the Braves like as a lineup. Like I remember when we were talking last fall, like it was really cool. Like they're a really likable team. Like it's not like the Dodgers where it's
they have fun.
Yeah,
they have fun,
which is how it should be. Like Ozzy Albies is awesome to watch. Acuna is awesome, and I love Acuna. I was just a little annoyed that he said the comments he did about Freddie, where it's like, dude, just come on, like, because it definitely stemmed from when. What's your manager, Snitker?
Yeah.
When he, pulled him aside after the not running it out to first, because Freddie definitely laid into him and is like, hey, man.
He did. But that's your job as the guy in the clubhouse, and these young guys come up. So Freddie was really just doing his job, and it's happened multiple times. Well, at least one other time outside of that, and Freddie was like, I'm not going to go say – I've said it once, and I've said my piece, and that's, where it is. Now, he's his own pro, and he can do what he wants to. There was another situation that was, I believe, earlier than that when Ronald came in with, the eye black that went all the way down, and Freddie was like, we just, that's not, it's like the Yankees not having beards. That's just something. You don't wear earrings, and you don't, know, and you don't need earrings, right? With the amount of jewelry that those guys are wearing as it is already.
But I mean, because he was like how for Rizzo was for the Cubs, but I mean, obviously Freddie Freeman's a little better ball player than Rizzo, but the same like leadership role where he had to, reel in Baez, Contreras. Chris Bryant was fine. He's pretty chill dude.
Yeah, he's a pro's pro as well. But very similar situations. I think the difference is for y'all, it's kind of being more mad at your he could have came back to the Cubs, but he was already traded, right? So you're more mad at your organization than you are at the actual player. Whereas for a little while, because the thing that I just took and ran with was you've got 2 hours or you've got 1 hour accept one of these two offers. And that was off-putting for me as a Braves fan, where it's like, you told us you want, and I know all players said this, I've been educated on this before, Sam Peebles was like, every player says that. Okay, true, but I felt it was true. When Freddie says something, I believe it. You know what I mean? His mannerisms. If you watch his interviews, it's just authentic as all get out. You got time for one more segment, or you got to bounce? All right, we got one more with Max Delight, and we're going to take a quick timeout. Coming up is Defend Your Stance. Stick with us, y'all.
My forecast overnight for the entire listening area, it'll be on the low 60s overnight, light east winds, and partly to mostly cloudy skies developing. The morning clouds will thin out to some sunshine Thursday afternoon, and the high Thursday near 80, an east wind 10 to 15. Water temperature in the Gulf is holding at 72. Air temperature Friday with mostly sunny skies should be in the low 80s, and those low 80s will stick around for the weekend. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, this is meteorologist Tim Root.
Atlanta Braves baseball is back.
Swing and a drive. That's hammered deep right. He jumped on one and hits a homer.
We're your exclusive radio home for the Atlanta Braves.
At the wall. It is gone. A grand slam for Acuna.
Hear every exciting home run, every strikeout, and every thrilling victory on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hear that? That's the plumpest, juiciest hot dogs you've ever seen getting their grill on. But we both know what'll make it sound even better. Oh yeah, it's a Pepsi to go with your hot dog. Because when you're chomping on America's favorite meal, relish, mustard, and onions perfectly blending into a crescendo of flavor, there's only one thing that makes everything about that moment better. A cold, refreshing Pepsi. See what I mean? It's like music to my ears. Hot dogs. Better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Have you been to Jin Jin Super King Buffet? It's not your average Jin Jin. Well, here's what you're missing. Jin Jin Super King Buffet has competitive pricing, a great selection, extensive buffet options perfect for family dining. Menu options also include top quality seafood, hibachi and sushi bar, or select their mouth-watering crab legs by order. Bring the family out to Jin Jin Super King Buffet, located next to Wonderworks at 9802 Front Beach Road on Panama City Beach.
Damsel in Defense presents Defend Your Stance. Got an opinion? Time to defend it. It's the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's the Afternoon Underdogs, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. This is Defend Your Stance. I'm David Hayes along with Caveman Rick. Your Minute with Max Delight was last minute. Now we're in Defend Your Stance, and that's brought to you by Emerald Coast Damsel, Independent Damsel Pro for Damsel in Defense. Michelle Nowalinsky does a great job, as well as Caveman Rick. Tallahassee this weekend, then off for a month.
Off for like a little while. We're going to try to set up
June
some other
4th
stuff.
and 5th right here in Bay County.
That's correct. So come out and see us in about a month. And if we have anything pop up, which we're working on, we'll let you guys know.
I love it, man. So, first off, we pity the fool who doesn't use our tool. Secondly, first question for Defend Your Stance today. Do you have a problem with players asking for a trade today like Deebo Samuel came out and did? What do you think? Let's let Max go first. What's your thoughts on Deebo Samuel and that whole situation?
Man, that's a tough one because he's given a ton to the team, but he's hurt a lot. I don't know. I mean, he's been in the league 3 years now, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much is left on his contract? A year?
I believe, yeah.
Only first rounders can get that fifth year, I believe, and then anybody else is only 4 years, correct?
I think so.
On the first
I think
deal.
you're right. I don't know. It's tough because it's really situational in my opinion, but he hasn't had any clarity because I don't know if they know what they're going to do with their quarterback situation still. Like, I feel like they kind of keep dangling the Jimmy trade thing.
Yeah.
Got to give a shout out to the hometown hero, Jimmy G.
Jimmy G.
Arlington Heights legend. Deebo, I don't know. I think it's okay. I think the spot that would make the most sense for him would be going to, like, the Chiefs, obviously, or the Cowboys. But I could see, like, one of those slop teams like the Jets swooping in.
I mean, they're reportedly, I think that the Titans and A.J. Brown are going to get a deal done. But the Jets are really wanting A.J. Brown, or at least media is reporting that. What do you think on this? Do you think that, or how do you feel about players coming out and asking for a trade?
I've done a complete 180 on this. I used to think, hey, it's a deal's a deal. You sign a contract on the dotted line, and you're supposed to honor it. But you see the way these NFL franchises treat these players, and it's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
And so if you don't play up to the contract you currently have, they'll cut you, or they'll just straight up tell you, hey, you need to take a pay cut or you're gone.
Yeah.
And you don't have a choice. So if you're starting to outplay that contract before you can get hurt or something nowadays, I say you got to strike, while the iron's hot, and you got to get that money while you can, because, things can change like in a heartbeat. And he's at the point now they can give him another contract. There's nothing saying that they can't. And so if they want to make him happy and they want to pay him for, like, what he's done for the team so far, and probably want to continue that production, you got to make the dude happy.
Man, Rick's been facts today. That's well said. I think I get more mad about
Appreciate it.
You got it.
Thank
I think I get more mad about the NBA players one, just because it's so much more of, like, being a diva. Like, it's like a 1 year situation, doesn't work, and then it's like you're out. Like,
when it's already guaranteed money too, you signed on. So I mean, that's on you.
Right, and it's like the league that's like the most player friendly. Like, you get so many second, third, fourth, fifth chances in the NBA. Like Carmelo Anthony, Jaleel Okafor. Like, I mean, I know that's a way bigger drop in talent. Look at those guys just don't go away. Like,
right.
And his Freedom Cantor, like, he's terrible, and he still is everywhere. Like,
yeah.
He still a bench player in the NBA makes $25 million a year.
Yeah.
And because there's so few people on the roster, and they have to divide up so much of a percentage to the labor, that those guys get huge contracts. I mean, for nothing really.
Yeah.
So here's my answer to the question: is I don't have a big problem with them asking for a trade rather than demanding a release or something like that, and really trying to, that situation is so sticky. And
But if you get
without it,
traded,
he doesn't get a Super Bowl.
You might get a new deal with the new team
might
though.
have
You
an
get traded.
ACL.
They might want to play ball with you and give you more
That's
money.
that's a great point as well. My understanding, according to Ian Rappaport of NFL Network, is that this has nothing to do with money. Who knows if that's true, right? It more or less has to do with how he's being utilized. I don't think that he likes coming out of the backfield, and that makes sense.
Really?
Why? Yeah,
'Cause
but
he always gets
look,
hurt.
well, not just him, but running backs in general. The shelf life, the average shelf life for a running back is only 3.5 years. This guy's a wide receiver, and he's being put into a mold that works for the 49ers, which at the end of the day, these guys that are playing, it is about the name on the front of the jersey and not the back of the jersey. It just seems like that's kind of gone out the window, and it's a player-driven league, which if you ask the guys who were playing back in the day, they may not like it, but they would like it to have been like that when they were in the league, and that's what those guys fought for in those unions as well. So in this situation, it's not that big of a deal to me. I know that it is to 49ers fans, and you're not going to be able to tell them no different, but if you're being used as a running back and a wide receiver at the same time, 1,405 yards. Does he get the production that he got, though, without getting that? This is his lone good year, and that's my problem with it. When you do 4 or 5 years, obviously you've already played your whole contract at that point.
Right.
But, when you've got multiple good years, now you got a leg to stand on. 3 out of your 5 contract years, now you got a leg to stand on. When you have 1 year, Debo, honestly, outside of all of the wide receiver movements that we've had, it's like without Kyle Shanahan putting you in that position, you are not in this position to really get that. Because Jimmy G isn't a guy who's what was the second best wide receiver? I don't have time to sit here and Google. You guys can do it if you want. No, I know that, but I'm saying in yardage wise, was Ayuk? I know talent wise, it's Ayuk. But and you could make the argument going into last season that a lot of people would have said Ayuk over Debo Samuel.
Yeah.
No doubt.
He was the fantasy sleeper. Everyone's
And like you were right 100%. I mean, without those extra touches, would he be the star that he is right now without those running touches and be able to capitalize on making that money or the demands he wants?
Because when you take that wide receiver now and then you put him in open space as a running back and, he's got just a little bit more perimeter to work with.
Look at
that
Tyreek
makes
Hill.
him dangerous. Yeah.
On those like those sweeps and stuff, man, you give him the ball and he gets outside and breaks for a touchdown or a big, huge run. That's huge.
Yeah.
So is that part of the reason why he wants it? He doesn't like being utilized.
That's what Ian Rappaport is
that's what
reporting.
Rappaport
The
reported.
root of the issue is not money. It's he has a displeasure with the way that he's being used within the 49ers offense. So that's really what it comes down to, according to Ian Rappaport. Now, who knows if that's the whole truth? That's another part of the discussion that will be had. And then another point that you had is the quarterback situation. Is it going to be Jimmy G? Does Debo Samuel, a guy who's practiced with Trey Lance, does he believe in what Trey Lance can do for the team? I think that's a fantastic point that's kind of getting slept on by a lot of people.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how that one all plays out here. We've only got about a minute left. Let's see here. Would Zion have made a better football player? You only got 20 seconds apiece.
Start with that with Max. Go ahead.
No, I think he's just like how his body build is. He's just so like injury prone. I don't know. He has such a anomaly build. He's like a block.
Yeah, he really is like a Lego block.
Like that ankle thing was like the worst thing that could have happened because that raised all the concerns for him. And I think he needs to do a little bit of growing up too, because it sounds like off the court he does a ton of stuff that's a little suspect or like dating around model. Like, hey, good for you, man. You're an NBA player. Do what you gotta do, but still you have a commitment. You signed one of the biggest deals as a rookie and have high expectations. I'll pass to him because it's quick.
Yeah, I'll just totally agree with Max. I mean, just because you're a big dude and you're like a physical specimen doesn't mean you're an athlete or you're tough to play a sport like that and you can handle yourself. We've seen small guys like a Darren Sproles or like a Steve Smith be able to handle themselves well in the NFL, and a lot of people probably didn't think so, and a big guy like that might not.
We're getting ready for hour number 2 of the Afternoon Underdogs. When we get back, we'll be talking some NFL draft with Tho Bishop. Stick with us right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, 102.1 in Mariana.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Everything bagel, it doesn't have a name of the flavor. It's like saying my favorite team is the NFC East. You can't do that. You got to pick a team. I will go to the mat on this
the NFC. Like my favorite team is the NFC. It's
right.
Incorporating a lot of.
It's the Rob Lowe would have a hat that says bagel. Like he has a hat that just said NFL. You can't. Everything bagel should be off the board.
Dan Patrick.
The Dan Patrick Show.
9 to 11 on ESPN, Northwest Florida.
The brand new Burger King in Weewa Hitchka is looking for managers and team members. You'll get to use your smile and personality and get paid for it. You'll be responsible for getting guests excited about their experience every day at Burger King. You'll get to work in a safe, productive environment that allows employees to thrive and advance with career opportunities. Burger King promotes from within. They offer training and development, flexible schedules, employee meal discounts, and scholarship opportunities. Burger King is an equal opportunity employer. Interested job seekers should text 007-8075 to 31063 to apply. Must be at least 16 years of age.
The Bikini Bash and Health Fair on April 20th at Fit Culture PCB. Check out the cool collection of local businesses specializing in your health, your wellness, and your beauty. We'll serve healthy snacks, superfood cocktails.
What?
Live entertainment, giveaways, and door prizes. Let's get ready for a hot summer together at the Bikini Bash and Health Fair on April 20th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Fit Culture PCB, 11905 Panama City Beach Parkway.
Safety is important, not just for you, but also for your family. Emerald Coast AMSL specializes in women's and children's safety and self-protection. They offer a variety of products from stun guns, striking tools, pepper sprays, including GPS-enabled sprays, personal alarms, safety whistles, and more. Give the gift of self-protection and contact Michelle and Rick today, 850-358-2810, or visit their website at emeraldcoastamsel.com. Independent Dancel Pro for Dancel in Defense.
Atlanta Braves play here. WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana. Powered by Pepsi. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed. Smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. And a long distance meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. Doing what other stations can't. The Afternoon Underdogs is live and local. 850-215-6290.
Always be sure to listen for the dial tone.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. We're in the Rib Crib Radio Room. Let me tell you guys about what's happening April 30th at the Bay County Fairgrounds. 104.3 ESPN presenting Wrestling Against Cancer 7. Saturday, April 30th at the Bay County Fairgrounds. Main event's going to be Chief Little Bear versus Cali Man. Doors open at 5:30, bell time 6:30. Tickets $12. Ages 6 to 10 get in for only $10. 5 and under free. All proceeds benefit Mosley High School student Kendall Susie. We'll sell you the seat, but you're only going to need the edge. Now let's get over to our phone line where we have Tho Bishop on the line, assistant editor for the Mises Institute, whose work on sports economics has been featured on The Federalist, Business Insider, and Arc Digital. Tho, what's going on?
Doing great. Glad to join you guys.
Hey, no doubt, man. Glad to get caught up on some NFL draft. Have not been following it as closely as I have in years past, which is weird because this is a decent draft class this year. Would the Jags be crazy not to take Aiden Hutchinson as the number 1 overall draft pick?
Well, my answer is no. It's kind of an unfortunate year to have the number 1 spot. I think it's a very interesting draft class for a variety of reasons as a whole, but there's not a marquee, necessarily surefire number 1. Obviously, the Jags don't need a quarterback after getting Trevor Lawrence last year. Personally, I'm a big fan of Travon Walker, who is just an athletic phenom, and it's has this very interesting dynamic going on where, do you go for the high college production? Aiden Hutchinson's the son of Steve Hutchinson, a legendary guard for a very long time in the NFL. So you have like a legacy aspect of there too. People look at what the Bosa brothers have done coming out of the Big Ten in recent years. I understand why a lot of people look at him, look at that production, look at that profile, and say this is the obvious pick versus a guy that did not have a lot of sacks at Georgia. But when you have the opportunity to add, one of the freak athletes within this draft class, and not only that, someone that Kirby Smart prioritized having on the field, that's I think a very compelling candidate there. And particularly when you look at the Jaguars' defense right now, they're moving to something kind of in the Todd Bowles sort of style. I think Mike Peterson is their new defensive coordinator. They run a lot of hybrid 3-4, 4-3 fronts. I think you look at someone like a Travon Walker, who's done everything that play heads up on the center. He's dropping the coverage. He's rushed the passer. He had some of his best games against Michigan and Alabama in the last 2 games of the Georgia season. There's a lot of talent there that it wouldn't surprise me if Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson went that way at that number 1 spot.
And let me ask you this about Travon Walker. At what point, when did his draft stock start going, like, skyrocketing, essentially? Because, like, before Combine, where did you have Travon Walker pegged?
Well, it's interesting because there's kind of 2 different conversations there. One, you have, like, traditional kind of draft media that does their own mock drafts. And, you look at from that complex, he was in a kind of a mid-low first-rounder for a lot of people because they're kind of going off those production numbers. The thing is, though, is that when you look at someone like Travon Walker, what makes it a difficult evaluation is that it's not as if he's getting beat, in a pass rusher role. The way that Kirby Smart runs their defense, they are asking their defensive players to more or less contain different holes because their number one concern was having mobile quarterbacks break the pocket, which there's a great clip out there kind of breaking down the strategy. And basically they recognize that a quarterback escaping the pocket is one of the most dangerous plays in college sports. And so what they do is they run a lot of kind of 2-gap responsibility plays from their defensive linemen, which then freed up their linebackers to be a lot more aggressive in pass rushing. And so if you don't look at it, if you don't understand the responsibilities being asked from a Travon Walker in that scheme, and you're going only by production, then I understand why you have him as a as a late first round guy. Mm-hmm. I was someone who it was just clear watching the guy on tape, like this guy was a physical freak. Again, the fact that you have Kirby Smart out there saying this is going to he had the highest snap count of any defensive lineman. He was always someone I had very high on my list. I'm a Georgia Bulldogs fan, so I might be a little biased there. I'll admit that. But then when you go out there and you destroy the combine the way he did, it's difficult to look at that and then hearing Kirby Smart's analysis of it. I understand why teams, he's now done interviews with I think every team in the top 6. That doesn't surprise me at all. The other side of it too, though, is that like some of these measurements do matter. You got Aiden Hutchinson out there that has like 7th percentile arms. When you're looking at some physical traits, that's where the entire process matters. And so I get the sentiment, you don't want to see someone go off the top of the boards who's only kind of up there because of the underwear Olympics or the combine stuff, not real football. I think in this case, this battle between the 2 of them is a little more difficult than, say, some conversation about, Vernon Golston back in the day or some of these traditional, a look like Tarzan, play like Jane workout freaks in the past.
Only 8 days away till the NFL draft. Is going to be so interesting to watch how that all shakes out. Let's talk a little bit about 2022 quarterbacks in the NFL draft. And, it is really dependent upon what team drafts you and how you fit into that system. I get that. But if you could break it down to who's going to be more like and I'm an Alabama guy, so this is tough for me to put into words, but who's going to be more like a Tua, who's was highly touted or whatever, and then Herbert, who's the guy who's like, hey, he can get the job done for you, doesn't even become the official starter till Tyrod Taylor's lung gets punctured. But so who could be not a comp, but a quarterback like a Tua who is not a complete bust yet, but hasn't lived up to expectations, and then Justin Herbert?
Yeah, well, this is kind of a difficult situation because I don't think any of these quarterbacks in this draft class, like I think all of them would be competing for like the 6 best quarterbacks in last year's draft, or would have been competing. I don't think any of these people would have been first round selections, for several quarterback cycle classes now. I look at this class. It reminds me almost more of the 2013 class, where like E.J. Manuel was going to the Bills, was the only first-round quarterback. You had a lot of talk during there about Ryan Nassib, him being a potential first-round pick, as Doug Marrone just became head coach of the Bills, after Syracuse. He ended up being a fourth-rounder. You had Matt Barkley, who was talked about as a potential first-rounder. He went in the fourth. I find myself, when I evaluate this quarterback group, there's no one who's a complete prospect. Everyone has a major gap in their analysis. So, like, there's a lot of talk about Malik Willis, for example. They see a great athlete, apparently a great kid off the field. There's a viral video about him helping a homeless guy during the combine. That's all great stuff. The problem is you watch the tape. For one, beyond the issues of looking at a Liberty offense and some of the differences in competition there, he's a guy that he's completely blind in the middle of the field. He doesn't throw well within traffic. He's someone who's got a beautiful arm. He's got a lot of arm strength, but he misses a lot of wide open passes. He doesn't read the defense well. And so what you're getting there is a tremendous athlete who isn't polished in the role of the passer yet. Whereas you get someone like a Kenny Pickett, who I think is kind of being typecast as like a high processor, right? Someone that might be kind of almost Joe Burrow-y, like a poor man's Joe Burrow. The problem is he doesn't really you watch his tape, he doesn't process the defense quite well either. He doesn't have a tremendous arm. He's an older prospect. He's 24 years old going in this class. It's hard to be high on him. That's without even addressing the hand issue, which ESPN like to talk about. My favorite quarterback in this class is actually Matt Corral. The problem is, though, is that like the offense he ran with Lane Kiffin, there was a lot of RPO stuff, which is bigger in the NFL these days. It's not necessarily a deal breaker, but he didn't do a lot of 3- and 5-step dropbacks, which is the priority of NFL passing games, right? But what you see with his game is that he thinks very quickly. He's a twitchy athlete. He's athletic enough to kind of move around the pocket. And he's someone who I think processes the defense very quickly. The problem is he's 6'1". He already was banged up with running around at Ole Miss. So you've got some physical issues there. Ritter from Cincinnati, he's someone who misses a lot of passes. Another athletic guy, but there's some problems there. So there's no one in this draft class I would feel comfortable with taking in the first round. We'll see if team need pushes some of these up there. But so you got a really interesting dynamic where I could see a quarterback, I could see 4 quarterbacks going in the first round, or maybe you have none going on at all. It's just going to be, which teams are desperate enough to pull that trigger on someone who might not otherwise be a first-round pick.
Yeah, how the how the first domino falls will affect the rest of them. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're talking to Tho Bishop, assistant editor for the Mises Institute.
Hey, Chef Ross here. With the talk about how these quarterbacks don't grade very high, would you, as a GM, take a flyer out on Baker Mayfield and throw like a 6th-round pick trade for him?
If I was the Carolina Panthers, I'd much prefer trying to take one of those tackles in the 6th spot. If you can't trade back, and then going with, I tried Baker Mayfield. I get why, they might be tired of kind of throwing in these, picking up these trading draft capital for some of the higher end contracts. I'm just interested to see if Cleveland ends up having to bite some of that salary. If you can get, at least $6 million in that salary back in Cleveland, you get him for maybe a next year, make it a pick where, you have some qualities in there based off production. I think that would be a great win-win scenario from all involved. But if I'm a coach and my 2023 depends upon finding a quarterback that can win for me this year, I would not feel very good. I'd be trying to find Jimmy Garoppolo, Baker Mayfield, even Gardner Minshew overrunning with a Kenny Pickett, who might be the best year one starter of this group.
So, though I know we wanted to talk some NFL draft props, I've only got about 3 minutes here, so I was wondering, I'll go ahead and just put it out in public. Will you get on with us next Thursday, sometime between 4 and 6, so we can do some NFL draft props ahead of the draft?
Yeah, that'd be fun. One of my favorite topics.
All right, I love it, man. So let's get to one of these next questions here, which is how strong is this draft in general?
Well, it's an interesting draft where, again, if you have the number 1 pick, it might not be your year. But if you have a lot of picks in, say, round 4, round 5, round 6, I think this is going to be one of those things where the good teams are going to feast in day 3. Because you think about it, you had all those COVID-related delays. You've got a lot of experienced talent in this draft class that is it's a unique class in that way. And it's funny if you looked at and you see which teams dominate like round 4 in terms of picks. Like it's the Baltimore Ravens, it's the New England Patriots, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's all those blue chip franchises that they know what they're doing. They're the ones that are binging on mid-round draft picks this cycle. I think that's something that could make this. I think that's going to end up being the story of the draft 5 years from now. Is what are those mid-round picks that really hit?
All right, though, one more before we get out of here for today. Give me your favorite sleeper in the draft outside of Trayvon Walker, because he's not a sleeper no more.
No, he ain't a sleeper at this point. I think there's an interesting quarterback prospect in Skylar Thompson from Kansas State. He's someone, if you break down some of his individual traits, I think, I would much rather throw a third-day flyer on him than going with any of these quarterbacks in the first round. I think he's someone who's very interesting. I think that there's definitely some running backs. It wouldn't surprise me at all if James Cook ends up going to one of these high-powered offenses and ends up being, one of the fantasy storylines of this draft class, a running back with really good, receiving skills. That's where you really make your potency known in the fantasy circles. He's someone I think would be really interesting. So those are two of my favorite. As a fantasy player, those are the two I'm going to be looking at most for some of these dynasty drafts, that's for sure.
Oh, I can't wait for it, man. And then how crazy would it be? I don't know exactly where the Minnesota Vikings are picking, but if they could bring in James Cook, I know they got Ham and Madison over there, but to have the brother duo, like, all right, Dalvin, when you do get hurt, we've got James ready to go right behind you.
Yeah, it'd be a great storyline. I know there's a lot of Tampa Bay fans that were upset when Tampa passed on Dalvin Cook back when he came out. Maybe some of them can end up making good. I could see Tom Brady enjoying a weapon like that in the backfield.
Oh.
But it's always good to see the brothers linking up.
No doubt about it. Hey, though, thanks so much for your time today, and look forward to talking to you next Thursday. We'll get in some NFL draft props.
Excellent. I look forward to it. Thank you, Dave.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Tho. All right, good stuff there. Always love talking some NFL draft. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes along with Caveman Rick, Chef Ross. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. 5:30, y'all. Zub and Mahinti.
My forecast overnight, clouds will lower and thicken. Temperatures overnight 60 to 65, but no rain expected. Light east winds. The morning clouds will thin out to some sunshine Thursday afternoon. The high near 80, light east winds. Friday mostly sunny, the high around 82, and more the same for Saturday. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, best little lumber yard in Panama City and Youngstown. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Love it. It's my favorite. My favorite.
Talking tough, trash, in your face. They get right up next to each other, right to nose to nose. Now you got my attention. It's a spectacle. I get it. What did we learn about some of these teams and players, and who are you all in on? We will be broadcasting from the Man Cave in New York City, Major League Baseball, and the world of sports. Plus a few surprises that you've come to expect. That's coming up right here.
9 to 11 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Dairyland is your land. It's car insurance that keeps you on the road so that you can make it to work on time. Its payment plans are flexible for when life gets complicated. It's affordable coverage to help you get back on the road again, even if you've taken a break. Because Dairyland is auto insurance that's customized to fit your life. Dairyland is your land.
Car insurance doesn't have to be complicated. We can help. Contact Ellis Agency Insurance today at 850-763-1627 or visit ellisagency.net.
I'm Matt Glover with Aero Pest Service, and we are your family-owned and operated pest control company in Bay County since 1977. Now's the time to have us supply our long-lasting custom blend fertilizer that is guaranteed to be the answer your lawn needs in order to stay green and beautiful all summer long. Give us a call today at Aero Pest Service, 850-874-1900. 874-1900.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison. Live from the Rib Crib studio. Hot takes, the latest trades, in-depth interviews.
That is my reaction.
We break it down for you right here.
Very big springboard for the rest of my career.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
That's the problem right there.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes, along with Caveman Rick. Chef Ross will get into this segment here. In the next segment, we'll have Zubin Mehenti, Sports Center anchor. Can't wait for it. We've also got a new Manning cast you were telling me about. I saw them go to a picture-in-picture the other night, but at that point in time, I was monitoring something on the radio, so I had my TV turned down. Give me your thoughts here on the A-Rod cast and how that's going.
It is nothing like the Manning cast. Michael Kay and A-Rod just don't have the chemistry that they have. Obviously, growing up being brothers your whole entire life, you got a whole lot of chemistry. I think ESPN is trying too hard to push that chemistry that they found with the Mannings. I only got to watch like 3 or 4 innings last Sunday because I saw something about it on my DVR thing, so I flipped over from the live game to the A-Rod cast.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Rodriguez did do a good job breaking down the fact that there's too much analytics in baseball right now, and he doesn't like it. He feels like it's taken away from the game of baseball and the feelings of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But he sees where analytics do have a part and do need to be a part, and we need to find a much better job for the younger fans to balance the fact that the computers are taking over and the human element is going away.
That's an interesting perspective, especially coming from a guy like Alex Rodriguez, who was before the analytical era, for sure. First, we got to say happy birthday to you. It was your birthday yesterday. You are drinking one of those Nitro Pepsi brews, so tell me about that. How's that thing tasting?
It is very, very smooth. It's definitely not as fizzy as a normal carbonated beverage.
Yeah.
It's got a lot more root beer flavor than Pepsi flavor, but
yeah. It reminds you of like an old school, which I never got to really experience outside of going to, like, what's that place? Where they got like the black
A&W.
No. I'm talking about like one of those old timey places where you go and it's like they're living back in the 1800s.
Like the soda jerks, like at the old pharmacy, like the way you used to do sodas.
We're on the same page with both of your guests. I don't know where he's
at.
Okay.
I gotta Google it in the break. I remember going when I was young, but there would be some places where it would be like different times or whatever, different eras of times, and so you could go into a place that was like a soda shop or whatever, and it would be like that. But let me Google it so we're not sitting here wasting time. So happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And everybody go get you one of those Nitro Pepsi brews, dude. They're pretty good.
Yeah, I've had it, and I'm actually not the biggest Pepsi fan, and it's pretty smooth. I dug it. So
I'm a huge Pepsi fan. Shout out Buffalo Rock. You guys do a great job for our community.
They got other great stuff. Yeah, don't worry about that.
You're just talking about the actual
just the cola
soda
flavor
okay.
of just Pepsi. Yeah, just like I like some of the other stuff, but this is pretty good for a Pepsi. Yeah.
See, I'm a guy who's like I like Dr. Pepper, love Mountain Dew. When it comes to Pepsi, it's like one of those things I got to be in the mood for it. I got to be in the mood for a Pepsi, and when I am, it hits the spot. Did you catch any of the USFL by chance, or any of the highlights, anything?
No, I've missed it all. Can't remember what I was doing. I went to beat down on the beach.
Yeah, you went. All right, give me your synopsis. Beat down on the beach. What was your favorite match?
It was a good time the whole time. I was very shocked to see that the guy that won the title and the main event bout came out to Newsboys Christian Rock Band as his intro.
Oh, nice.
That was really cool, especially since I'm even repping my Newsboys hat today.
Hey, there we go.
Man.
Was that the fight of the night for you?
Yeah, and then the Sleep Center fight, kickboxing match that lasted like 12 seconds. couldn't find a better sponsor for a 12-second knockout than the Sleep Center because he went right to sleep.
They've been putting him to sleep since 1995. Quick little hiatus here. Our fighter, the Afternoon Underdogs fighter, Bay Handyman's fighter, he also fights for Impact Promotions. I'm talking about LJ Padilla, standing tall at 5 feet 11, 180 pounds. He's in the middleweight division. That's the most exciting division of them all. He's a Marine, served in Iraq, high school wrestling state champion. He works for and is sponsored by Bay Handyman Services. No job too small. 850-753-5014. Like I said, fighting for Impact Promotions. June 18th, beat down at the Beach 25. Let's pack that place out. And I want to hear LJ just ringing through the whole entire venue there at Lake Town. Can't wait for it. He's actually going to be on the show with us next Friday. And then I've got him scheduled for an appearance the Friday before his weigh-in. So that'll be June 10th. We'll have 2 appearances with LJ. Can't wait to talk to him and see what kind of a guy that he is. So, Caveman, what are you thinking about the USFL?
I think it's all right. Of course, you're not going to see the kind of talent we're going to see in the NFL because obviously, if these guys were that talented, that's where they'd be playing, and they wouldn't be in the USFL. But for the start, I didn't think it was too bad. I think opening on Easter weekend was kind of like not the greatest idea.
Yeah, they'll probably rethink that.
You know, because if you looked at the stands, obviously they weren't packed out. I'm sure everybody else had, more like important stuff to do, family. They got kids, grandkids. They got to go to Easter egg hunts, church, things of that nature. So it probably made it tough. So I hate to talk bad about it, but for a first weekend, it just kind of didn't have that pop.
Well, the only game that really did numbers was Saturday. And I didn't get to see the game Monday. I turned it on for a second. It was 17-0. I was like, I got some other sports. This NBA playoffs, I'm going to be watching that. But the Birmingham game, I didn't get to watch because I was so sick. I wasn't even able to watch anything. I had my face planted in the couch pretty much. So the game that I did get to watch was the Gamblers versus the Michigan Panthers, and it was I just love how it's NFL rules, but they do it a little differently. They bring in the last 2 minutes. It's the college clock rules, and I enjoy that. I don't want to see that at the professional level. You know what I mean? You got 3 timeouts. You use those 3 timeouts when you need to stop the clock. Yeah. Otherwise, get out of bounds. But for the USFL, let's make these games as exciting as we possibly can. I think they're doing a good job of that. I love the drone coverage whenever it's a field goal or a punt or something. I like that. At first, I'm like, I don't really know how I feel about this view. Then a couple more times of seeing it, I'm like, I could get used to this.
Oh, yeah.
I could definitely get used to this.
I think the college rules help it out a lot, too, because of it being watered down a little bit.
Well, it's just the 2-minute rule.
Yeah, exactly.
That is,
still, but like you're saying, to stop the clock because some of these guys, they don't have that experience.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll keep drives going. It'll keep the scoring probably up. It'll keep people interested more in those 2-minute windows. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, no doubt. So the XFL, though, pitched league to agents in an attempt to counteract the USFL. USFL players are receiving $4,500 per week in addition to bonuses. That's if their team wins, right? They also get a subsidized housing during the regular season. USFL pays $75 toward a daily $150 hotel room rate at the league's on-site location in Birmingham. So basically, what they're trying to do is they're trying to steal the players over from the USFL by telling agents that our league's going to be better for a couple of reasons, right? We're starting in February and ending in, I believe it's March, where you got this league that's starting in April, so they're starting later. I would like to see both of these leagues, instead of fighting at each other, try to
combine maybe or merge?
No, not even that. No, have the 2 separate leagues. Have the XFL that's going to be more of a wrestling entertainment, whereas the USFL is going to be a little bit more closer to actual football. In what my opinion.
Work.
Yeah, the first time the XFL showed up and they did all the wrestling.
No, I'm not saying it's going to be wrestling, but it's still going to be a more over-the-top entertainment.
I think having 2
entertainment
leagues
experience
at the same time that aren't NFL competing with one another, they're going to cannibalize each other because you're going to steal ratings and viewership from one to the other. So then neither one of them's going to have, I don't think, fabulous
It's going to be
ratings.
A competition.
Exactly, and I think that's what's going to hurt them.
It's going to hurt one league, though, and
I think overall it's going to hurt both. I think it's going to cut the numbers down on both of them. Oh, yeah, because now you have all the eyeballs that will be watching these divided between 2 leagues instead of 1 league.
Yeah.
And it's going to make it real tough unless, one just runs away with it. But it's like the transfer portal now. You're talking about this other league wanting to steal players, from this, league. and it's just like the transfer portal all over again. If you're not happy with your playing time or where you're at, whatever, jump into the portal or switch leagues.
All right. One last question before we get to break and get Zubin on the line with us. As a Green Bay Packers fan, Chef Ross, how do you feel about Deebo Samuel requesting the trade?
I've been working all day, haven't really dug into the reasons.
I'm just
why
asking you how you feel.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you
saying,
for anything
in my
other than
opinion-
how you feel about Deebo going because he tore y'all's tails up last year.
Yeah, well, we got beat by a team that couldn't score an offensive touchdown. He was not really that much of a fact.
How's Aaron Rodgers, real quick, I got 30 seconds. Aaron Rodgers, how's he going to do without Devontae Adams next year?
I think it'll be okay. It'll be a little learning curve. Slow September, hopefully ramp it up by the time playoffs matter, and maybe win a game.
You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, 102.1 in Mariana, also on Blab TV. If you don't have them in your area, get their channel on your Fire Stick or Roku. Be right back with Zubin Mahinsi.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida presents Wrestling Against Cancer number 7. In the main event, Chief Little Bear versus Cully Man. Plus, exciting women's wrestling Saturday, April 30th at the Bay County Fairgrounds. Doors open at 5:30, bell time 6:30. Tickets $12. Ages 6 to 10 only $10. 5 and under free. Proceeds benefit mostly high school student Kendall Susie. We'll sell you the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
The brand new Burger King in Weeba Hitchka is looking for managers and team members. You'll get to use your smile and personality and get paid for it. You'll be responsible for getting guests excited about their experience every day at Burger King. You'll get to work in a safe, productive environment that allows employees to thrive and advance with career opportunities. Burger King promotes from within. They offer training and development, flexible schedules, employee meal discounts, and scholarship opportunities. Burger King is an equal opportunity employer. Interested job seekers should text 007-8075 to 31063 to apply. Must be at least 16 years of age.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likas with today's Car Clinic Minute. There's that clicking noise again. If it sounds like Riverdance is performing under your hood, you could be in for some expensive repairs. I'll be back in a snap and tell you all about it.
The Car Clinic Minute.
It's Bobby Likas Car Clinic, brought to you locally by Hewitt Tire and Auto.
Call 850-769-7323.
Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing.
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
On Airport Road in Panama City.
That's 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
That click-click isn't Riverdance, but it could be a malfunctioning tappet. Like doors open and close, letting people into a club, tappets open and close, letting air into your engine's cylinders. To move efficiently, tappets use engine oil for lubrication, and there's the potential problem. Debris in contaminated oil not only causes tappets to click, it also piggybacks with the oil into all engine parts. Bottom line, expensive repairs. So before you hear your dollars clicking away, schedule oil changes regularly. I'm Bobby Likas. Like us, you'll love us.
The #1 SEC call-in show is now twice as big. It's double the Paul Feinbaum Show. Weeknights starting at 6.
Okay, but also go faster.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. Live from the Rib Crib Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs in the Rib Crib Radio Room. I'm David Hayes along with Caveman Rick. Excited for this next segment. Bringing on Zubin Mahinsi with Sports Center, man. Sports Center anchor. What's going on, Z? How you been?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Man, it's so great to have you back on the show with us. Glad that you're doing all right. I love watching you on Sports Center. Every time that you've ever popped across my screen, I'm like, this dude he's got it going on. Now, how much time do you put in your preparation before Sports Center?
Oh, quite a bit. I think it's one of those things where the trick is this, and you know this too. Like, let's say you're watching SEC football one Saturday. You never know who's going to call. I was just listening to your promo before we came back. You can't possibly watch every minute of every game. but it's possible that anybody could call you about any game. So the idea is to watch as much as you can of every game and to try to intelligently inform about every game, knowing that when Booker gets injured, that's where all my attention goes. But anything else that's going on at that time, like a baseball game or a hockey game, that goes off to the side. So you got to prepare as much as you can, but you have to sort of realize when you do it, you can't watch everything and be all things to all people. So that's the hardest part. You just have to sort of be as prepared as you can, but know that there's just too much going on to be able to watch everything, and you just sort of hope for the best, and you're sort of authoritative in the places you need to be, and in the other places, sometimes you just have to let it go a little bit.
Man, that's
Outstanding.
that's advice right there. So you segued me perfectly. Are the Suns in trouble without Devin Booker?
They might be. You know, it's weird. I didn't think the bottom of the West could be this bad in a long time. Now, obviously, they just had the advent of the play-in tournament, which is a newer thing. But, you know, if you look at the bottom of the West, you'd be like, give me a break. I mean, like, teams 7, 8, 9, and 10, particularly 9 and 10, San Antonio and New Orleans, in normal years, you would look at teams that have won 50-ish games, and not made the playoffs when it was an 8-team format. So sometimes it's a little strange to see teams 9 and 10 down there, and then a team like New Orleans go in, get in, and then actually steal the home court against the top overall seed. But I think with Phoenix, they're an interesting spot. You know, they're probably the best franchise in the NBA to never win the championship. You know, they've been close. They were close in the 70s. They were close when Barkley was there. They were close last year. But I think for this franchise right now, obviously the Booker injury is huge. They need to show it. They've been on the doorstep a handful of times. They clearly have the talent advantage. New Orleans has been dogged all year by the Zion news. I mean, everything they've done on the court has taken a back seat to everything that's been going on with him. I do think what's really interesting is if you look at it, I do think New Orleans' head coach has a lot of intel on Phoenix. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't think about. I'm not saying that's the sole reason they're ahead, but I do think what Willie Green has done there and the way he knows the organization in Phoenix has probably played a little bit of a part in knowing exactly how to counter Phoenix, but no excuses for the Suns. They should be breezing through. I mean, they should be doing what Miami's doing to Atlanta.
The trade to bring over C.J. McCollum, how much has that helped the progression of Brandon Ingram? Because right now he's playing lights out.
No doubt. I mean, Ingram is another guy that you think the Lakers would love to have Brandon Ingram right now? You know,
Amen.
It's unbelievable. I mean, they made a mistake. Now, I'm not saying Julius Randle has fitted perfectly in New York. He hasn't, but he clearly is a guy they should have kept. They probably, this sounds even silly, but they probably should have kept Caruso. They probably should have kept Ingram. But you're in a situation where if you're them, you look at it and say, McCollum was probably a guy that got overshadowed so much by Lillard. And think about all the time McCollum missed even when he got to New Orleans. You know, that's an underrated part of it. So I'm really happy for Ingram. I always thought he was a really good player, and now it's starting to be accentuated to such a degree. And I thought New Orleans is the type of team you really have to think about it. I don't think they can win the series, and if the next time we talk and it's 4-1 Phoenix and it's over, I'm not going to be surprised. But you have to give New Orleans its due. You know, remember, this is an organization before they became the Pelicans, but this is an organization when they were the previous iteration of New Orleans that they, you know, the league took them over. I don't know if you remember this. The league bought the Pelicans/Hornets and got them on good financial footing. I mean, the organization was a real disaster for a long time. And I think they thought drafting Zion was going to completely turn the organization, and it was going to take them from being on shaky footing to really solid footing. And I don't know if Zion's going to play another game for New Orleans. I am definitely in the camp, and I don't think this is a stretch, and I don't exactly know what's going on with his health. But I am absolutely in the camp of people that believe that you're going to be doing that sort of stuff in practice, like the through the legs 360s and all that video that we've seen. If you're capable of doing that, you're capable of doing more than sitting on the bench. And I don't want to extrapolate too far, but I did think it was strange that he wasn't at Coach K's last game at Cameron Indoor Stadium. I don't want to go too far back, but to me, you weren't playing, and I don't know if he felt like he was going to be shamed for the condition he was in. But whatever's going on with him, not showing up for that, and doing 360s through the legs and not playing, I think he's getting a lot of bad advice. I think he has an incredible personality, magnetic smile, 100% Q rating, right? His popularity rating was off the charts from all fans of college and NBA. And I think what's going on right now, I don't know who's in his ear and what's going on, but I think look, he's got the Nike deal. He doesn't need the money. And I'm not saying he won't come back. I'm sure he will. But I just feel like this was in sports, you don't find this. He was a really universally liked guy. I mean, think about all the guys that we watch and talk about, how many of them are universally liked. In sports, that number is really small. And I think he was in that group. And unfortunately, I think he's working his way out of that group. I don't think he's a bad guy. I just think he's getting some bad advice.
Wow, great insight, Z. This is K-Man Rick, man. Great to have you on, and just a pleasure that I can speak with you today.
Great to see you. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Staying in the NBA, moving on to the Nets and Celtics game tonight. After that loss last time, do we think KD is going to have just a lights out performance tonight to try to make up for that loss and try to just fire back and get back into the series?
Well, I think this is how much of the standard you put on KD. So he had 23 points in game one, and I remember I talked about it on SportsCenter Sunday night. It definitely seemed like an empty 23 points, and it's hard to have 23 points and have it seem empty. But I think he was 9 for 24 from the field. He was only 1 for 5 from three. So I agree with you. The standard is what it is. I would say this. One thing that hasn't been talked about is in the final minute of the game, he missed a jumper that would have put the Nets ahead. So if you're Kevin Durant and everything that goes on with Kevin Durant, you guys know what I'm talking about. When he misses a jumper in the final seconds of a game that could give the Nets the win, almost every single time after the game, that's the story, right? And it wasn't. Of course it wasn't. The story was something else with Kyrie Irving. So I think in some ways, Durant, I don't know what the media reaction would have been if they just would have harped on him for missing that shot, but that wasn't the intention. Everything went to Kyrie, of course, at the 39, the 18 points in the fourth, and obviously everything that went on there. But yes, I do think it's a great bounce-back opportunity. I'm not surprised Kyrie played this way. I'm not surprised that Jason Tatum played this way. I am surprised that Jordan Poole has looked like this. I am surprised in some ways that Jimmy Butler has looked like this. That's the beauty of the playoffs. Like I said, certain guys, when they go off, not surprised at all. And then certain guys, when they play the way they played, like Tyrese Maxey, that's a good example, sort of surprised by the way they had. So playoffs have been great every night. And I think, it's going to be pretty good. I think it's going to be pretty good down the stretch the rest of the way for the NBA. The ratings were very, very good. This is a little insidery TV radio thing. But for a lot of people who love to poke holes in the NBA, there's definitely some holes to be poked. But the ratings for that Nets-Celtics game are off the charts for a first-round series. And I don't just mean post-pandemic, new world of looking at sports ratings. I'm talking about over the last 20 years, that was one of the highest-rated first-round playoff games that's ever been broadcast. So that's definitely a good sign for the NBA.
Yeah, they definitely had a first good weekend. We're talking with SportsCenter anchor Zubin Mehenti. Hey, Zubin, I wanted to kind of get your take or get inside your head maybe. What is your favorite sport to call a highlight for? Or are they all the same to you? Or is there a certain sport that you get excited for when you know that you're going to be calling that one?
I'll tell you what, baseball is not my favorite sport by any means. I used to love baseball, but I think I'm like a lot of people. I like it, and I really like the postseason. But regular season baseball, for me, I'm not as enthused about it as I used to be. But I think when it comes to highlights, baseball is the easiest place to really try to inform. I'm not a funny guy, right? So, I mean, when I worked with John Anderson, who's another one of my colleagues who's been with ESPN now for 22 plus years, maybe longer, 22, 23 years. He's funny. But funny is really hard to do, and as you know, funny is subjective. You know, your sense of humor and my sense of humor may be completely different. So I've never really taken the funny track. It is hard to be funny. He is funny. I'm more of the informed guy. I think I have some good information to pass on. And in a baseball highlight, it's actually a lot easier to do it than in any other sport. There's just too much happening in a basketball highlight and in a football highlight. But so often in a baseball highlight, I mean, think about how often you watch a game and there is nothing happening, right? Nobody's on base, nothing's going on. And that's really the best place to get in there and drop in a story. And I also feel I'm not alone in sort of leaning off of baseball a little bit. I feel like people are more into football than ever before. They're more into the draft than they've ever been. They're more into college football than they've ever been. Golf is experiencing a boom. So I try to say to myself, all right, what's the sport that we're going to have to show every night, which is baseball, that people, you know, unless you're Shohei Ohtani or Clayton Kershaw going for a perfect game, how am I going to keep you locked in? All of our numbers say, and I don't know what your favorite teams are down there, but of all of our favorite teams, all of our research says that if I'm not talking about your favorite team, you're really not that interested in a baseball highlight. Our research says if I'm talking about college football and I'm talking about any team in the South, you guys might be interested, even if it's not your team. So for baseball, it's the biggest and best opportunity to get a good point across, get some great information across, and maybe make you watch something a little bit longer than you normally would. That's baseball's toughest spot. It's getting to the point where it's so regional that if Clayton Kershaw is trying to pitch a perfect game, and the second it's broken up, if you're not a Dodger fan, you're totally out on it. And that's something baseball is going to have to work on. Shohei Ohtani, small group of people that definitely can keep your attention through the highlight, but those people aren't like that anymore. There's still tons of data that say the most trafficked baseball players with regards to clips are Derek Jeter and Ken Griffey Jr. And it's been a while since either one of them has actually played a game. So that tells you a lot about baseball.
That is amazing information, man. I really love the way that you broke that down. We've only got time for one more here, Z. Were you surprised? I know with he had the visa situation. This is going to be his first time to actually make money on the up and up, if you will, with the NIL. Were you surprised though that the best player in the country swept the awards, headed back for a senior season in Oscar Shibwe?
I think there's two things, and I'll be quick here. One, I'm not surprised. They do need to change the rules. They have got to help people that are from foreign countries. Iowa has a guy named Torrey Taylor. You guys are college football guys. He's one of the best punters in the country. And, you know, they have that Australian rules football and all that power with the leg down there, and he hasn't been able to profit. So this is a problem, not just endemic to Shibwe, but he needs to do something. Secondly, I would just say with Shibwe, he was the first Kentucky player to sweep every national major award. And as you know, they've got some good players there over the course of time. But if this was 20 years ago, Shibwe would be one of the first picks in the draft. You ever see this guy from Illinois, Kofi Coburn?
Yeah.
He's a monster. 20 years ago, he would have been one of the first picks in the draft. Now he's a late second-round pick. Luka Garza, who was a National Player of the Year last year for Iowa, 20 years ago, lottery pick. Now, late second-round pick. I'm not surprised by the NIL. The rule has to change. But the college game is played one way, and the NBA has evolved to such a point that the most intimidating college players, if they can't shoot, and right now Shibwe can't shoot and Coburn can't shoot, if you can't shoot, you don't have a place of importance in the NBA. So while he's a magnificent college talent and deserves everything he's got, and he's a great young guy, great personal story, the whole thing, the game in the NBA has just changed. And these guys were probably born a couple decades too late to truly take advantage of their skill set.
Man, what another amazing answer. I always enjoy having you on, Z. Are you going to be on SportsCenter tonight?
No, we'll be back this weekend, but feel free to call anytime. I'm feeling way better, and I'll be able to be on with you anytime you like.
I love it. Thanks so much for the great answer, Z. We'll talk to you soon, and I'll be looking forward to watching you on SportsCenter this weekend.
Take care. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Man, the answers, just the information, the breakdown of the information is like a eggshell within an eggshell. It's like those. What do you call those Russian dolls?
You know, like the nesting doll. I don't know. They just nest inside of one
Yeah,
another. Yeah, I know what you're talking
yeah.
about. And like, man, like I'm just I'm so soaked that I was able to talk to Zubin Mehenti, man.
Yeah.
From the mothership.
From the mothership, no doubt about it. Great stuff there. We're going to take a short time out. We've got the high school spotlight when we return. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes along with Caveman Rick. We'll be right back.
My forecast overnight for the entire listening area, it'll be on the low 60s overnight, light east winds, and partly to mostly cloudy skies developing. The morning clouds will thin out to some sunshine Thursday afternoon, and the high Thursday near 80, an east wind 10 to 15. Water temperature in the Gulf is holding at 72. Air temperature Friday with mostly sunny skies should be in the low 80s, and those low 80s will stick around for the weekend. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, this is meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd.
Some people see sports as escapism. I've never once in my life gone to a game to escape. Escape what? I love my wife. I love my job. I love my kids. What am I escaping? If you have to go to sports to escape, maybe that's more on you.
This is The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
Weekdays 11 to 2, ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Hey there, I'm Swampy Jack. I've traveled the world for decades, and now I've brought some of my most exciting adventures to Panama City Beach. Brave perilous heights of the Kraken Tower Swing as you soar above the beach. The whole family will have fun playing my new mini golf course, which recreates my expedition to the ruins of Angkor Wat. Skip the restaurant lines and enjoy a meal at Swampy's Cantina, and enjoy a beer while you listen to laughter bubbling from the spin coaster. Your adventure awaits at Swampy Jack's Wongo Adventure.
PCB Coins and Cards is the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, coins, and trading card games. PCB Coins and Cards carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Coins and Cards has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel, rookie, game-used, and autograph cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? Bring it in and let us take a look. We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Coins and Cards on Back Beach Road just east of Florida Linen. Call them today at 850-320-8388.
Guthrie's Golden Fried Chicken Fingers on Panama City Beach. Fresh, never frozen chicken tenders fried to perfection and served with their famous signature Guthrie sauce. Guthrie's box, snack, and chicken sandwich are sure to please. And for larger gatherings, try the family meal or Guthrie's Chicken Finger Bucket. Let Guthrie's cater your next event. Find their daily specials on Facebook, on Front Beach Road across from the Beach Shopping Center. Since 1965, fresh, hot, and fast. Now available on DoorDash and Uber Eats.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. You're riding shotgun with the Afternoon Underdogs. We're going to need some gas money. The Afternoon Underdogs.
Fill her up, please.
At 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
That was Zubin Mehenti on with us in the last segment, Sports Center anchor. He'll be on this weekend. We'll have him on the show here in the future. I've also got Chris Branch. I don't know if you guys are subscribed to The Athletic or not, but he's going to be coming on. I don't know exactly, don't have it all worked out, but he does the Athletic Pulse each morning, and man, it's fantastic. Along with Dan Gartland, he writes for Sports Illustrated. I've been in contact with him, and he puts out a Sports Illustrated morning newsletter every morning. If you're not subscribed, the Sports Illustrated one I know for a fact is free. Athletic Pulse, I'm subscribed to them, so I'm not sure if that one's free or not, but the Athletic is one of the most in-depth places to go get your content from, no doubt about it. We had Steven Nesbitt on the line with us yesterday talking about, talking baseball with us, and those are always fun things to get into. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes. We only got about 6 minutes left here. Let's get into the high school spotlight real quick, and I'll take high school baseball. You got softball, Caveman Rick. Baseball, Arnold takes down Mosley 4-2. Freeport over Destin with a shellacking 18, old schooling 18-3. Paxton over Rehoboth 7-4. Sneeds over Monroe 5-2. Malone all over Vernon 21-1. Mariana takes down Bluntstown 17-5. If you're in Mariana, you can listen to us on 102.1. Contandale Cottondale 8-1 over Weewa Hitchka. Bozeman shuts out PSJ 11-0. Laurel Hill in Florida in a close one 6-8. Walton, nail biter here. 5-4. Actually, it was Florida over Laurel Hill 8-6 and Walton over Alta 5-4. Poplar Springs takes down Ponce de Leon in another close one 9-8. Pace over Niceville 8-4 and Holmes over Chipley, another close one. This was a pitching duel 2-1. Let Caveman Rick take over on the high school softball side of things.
Yeah, all right, for the ladies, start out with Graceville taking down Cottondale 4-1. FSU takes down Holmes 8-3. We got Bluntstown beating Alpha 9-7. Vernon with a nice win against Bay 12-5. Ponce de Leon gets shut out by Freeport 2-0. And you got North Bay Haven beating Arnold by a score of 9-6. And finally, you got Liberty putting a whooping on Bozeman 12-4.
A couple of notes dealing with the NBA. Obviously, we were talking with Zubin about Devin Booker being out for 2 games is what it's looking like. He'll probably be out for games 3 and 4. The Suns do have a lot of depth, but now, the Pelicans are riding high. They're Friday, or I don't know, their next game, I believe it's Friday, they're going to be packing out the Smoothie Palace in all red. So, there's excitement there because they weren't supposed to win that game.
Oh, definitely. And the series is definitely going to be dependent on, how Booker does. And if he, needs to come back earlier, if they say lose this next game, then you might see him sooner, even if he probably does need some more time.
And we saw the Mavericks without Luka get their win 110-104 the other night. Luka's eyeing a return for game 3. That would be you can't say much needed breath of fresh air because they just got a win, right. But they're going to be on the road in the next 2 contests. So having a guy yeah, exactly. You really need a guy like Luka tonight. You got the Boston Celtics and the Brooklyn Nets, man. What do you think the environment is going to be like tonight in the Garden?
It's going to be electric, man. After that last game and after, what happened with Kyrie, I'm sure, you're going to see another repeat, man. The fans are going to go nuts. I'm sure, the Nets are going to come in guns blazing. They're going to look to win this game. They don't want to go down a couple of games. So it's going to be a battle, and the last game was too. So this is definitely going to be a war.
Well, speaking of middle fingers, shortstop for the White Sox, Tim Anderson, just flipped off the Cleveland fans, the
nice.
Guardian fans, by throwing up a middle finger towards them because he was frustrated with them. I'm not being able to see the video right now because we're on the show. I'll watch that here later. See an article here from The Score that the Packers and Chiefs are among the potential landing spots for Deebo Samuel. It would be ironic for him to go to Green Bay, but Aaron Rodgers desperately needs a numero uno target. And for the Chiefs,
it'd just be replacing Tyreek Hill.
Yeah,
is basically what you'd be doing.
It would be, but they kind of need that guy. If I'm Patrick Mahomes, do I really trust Juju Smith-Schuster to be my number 1 wide receiver or my brother's best friend?
I wouldn't trust Juju. I wouldn't go.
I would trust him
Deebo.
to be my brother's best friend.
Yeah.
They can make TikToks together.
It sounds like a plan. There should be some money in there for those guys, I would think.
All right. Do the Bulls, they're a 10-point underdog tonight against the Bucks.
I don't see it happening.
Is Giannis just too daggum dominant?
I don't think it's just him.
Too dominant. I don't want to say
that.
that.
It's the team. They have the team concept going on. Giannis is like the captain of that team, the head of that team. But then guys like Holiday, everybody just does their job there, And when you have a team like that, people know their roles and the accepting of their roles. It makes it a lot easier to win. When you don't have a bunch of divas and guys that are just looking for stats.
Tomorrow at 5:15, I'm going to have the Real Fishing Report with Tim from Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle. If you're a fisherman or if you think you want to get into fishing, you need to be listening to that segment at 5:15. Tim is a very detailed report, the Real Fishing Report tomorrow at 5:15. The next Tuesday, I'm going to have Jay Chapman in for at least an hour with me, chatting some baseball up with him. We'll have a lot of other great things happening. Hope everybody went out to Rib Crib today to help out our guy heading to Bluefield University. And then also tomorrow, Ribs and Rides. So get out there, April 21st, man. Ribs and Rides going to be a great time here. Let's see here. One more thing. We only got 1 more minute. That Luke Voigt slide, though. I still can't believe that there's so much outcry. Like, I get sticking up for your players, but where is Tommy Pham thinking? Like, it's a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why do you want to take it off the field? If you had that big of a problem with it, why not run up to him right there and take care of it?
Well, I think if it went the other way, you probably wouldn't have seen anything come up of it either.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, this day and age, counselor culture, everybody's griping and has a beef with everybody and anything that somebody says or does. So I'm not surprised. I just think people need to get over it, not be babies. You should play that, pacifier, whiny sounder if we had enough time right now. But people just need to grow up, man. It's a game. Be a man. Play the game the way it used to be played.
All right, we're out for today, you guys. It was a great one. Hope you guys had fun. Thanks so much for listening. Buckle up. Be safe out there. Coach James Hill live at 7 a.m. The Afternoon Underdogs will be back tomorrow at 4. I'll have my good friend Kyle Wright with me. Y'all take care. Be safe out there.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. The Paul Feinbaum Show.
Coach Kirby Smart, how are you?
Doing great, Paul. Staying busy. It's been fun. It's been really exciting, but the honeymoon's long over when we started spring practice. But you know how short the memory is in the SEC. You've seen a lot of folks kind of enjoy that too long and not turn it around. So we've been focused really hard on next year. There's so much work that goes into every season. You can't sit back and look at the last one.
Weekday evening, 6 to 10, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hi, I'm Tracy, your diamond girl at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Shopping for the perfect diamond can be difficult, but that's why I've trained my staff to be helpful and to offer you a stress-free diamond experience. Pick your sparkle and use our easy layaway plan. Every woman deserves an exquisite diamond from your diamond girl at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. We don't work on commission.